To you all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much for joining His Holiness Chandramauli Swami Maharaj's daily class. Today we are continuing with Srimad Bhagavatam, second canto, 7th chapter, verse number 24, and we are very happy to have Her Grace Radha Vinodini Mataji to give class for all of us. Hare Krishna Mataji, my humble obeisances to you. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much, Mataji. You can please take over. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Can I do the screen sharing or?
Yes, Mataji, I made you a host. I made you host.
Yeah. So, Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Please accept my humble obeisances. Our glory is to Srila Prabhupada. So, let's continue with Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, 7th chapter, verse number 24. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Yasmādādu tadiru Udabhayanga Vepo Margam Sapadya Ripuram Haravadi Daksho Dure Suhrim Matita Rosha Sushona Drishtya Tatatpyamana Makaroragana Nakra Chakra. Srila Prabhupada's translation. The personality of Godhead, Ramachandra, being aggrieved for his distant, intimate friend, Sita, glanced over the city of the enemy Ravana with red-hot eyes like those of Hara, who wanted to burn the kingdom of heaven. The great ocean, trembling in fear, gave him his way because its family members, the aquatics like the sharks, snakes, and crocodiles, were being burned by the heat of the angry, red-hot eyes of the Lord. Srila Prabhupada's purport. The personality of Godhead has every sentiment of a sentient being, like all other living beings, because he is the chief and original living entity, the supreme source of all other living beings. He is the Nitya, or the chief eternal amongst all other eternals. He is the chief one, and all others are dependent, many. The many eternals are supported by the one eternal, and thus both the eternals are qualitatively one. Due to such oneness, both the eternals constitutionally have a complete range of sentiments, but the difference is that the sentiments of the chief eternal are different in quantity from the sentiments of the dependent eternals. When Ramachandra was angry and showed his red-hot eyes, the whole ocean became heated with that energy. So much so that the aquatics within the great ocean felt the heat, and the personified ocean trembled in fear and offered the Lord an easy path for reaching the enemy's city. The impersonalists will see havoc in this red-hot sentiment of the Lord because they want to see negation in perfection. Because the Lord is absolute, the impersonalists imagine that in the absolute, the sentiment of anger, which resembles mundane sentiments, must be conspicuous by absence. Due to a poor fund of knowledge, they do not realize that the sentiment of the absolute person is transcendental to all mundane concepts of quality and quantity. Had Lord Ramachandra's sentiment been of mundane origin, how could it disturb the whole ocean and its inhabitants? Can any mundane red-hot eye generate heat in the great ocean? These are factors to be distinguished in terms of the personal and impersonal conceptions of the absolute truth. As it is said in the beginning of the Srimad Bhagavatam, the absolute truth is the source of everything, so the absolute person cannot be devoid of the sentiments that are reflected in the temporary mundane world. Rather, the different sentiments found in the absolute either in anger or in mercy, have the same qualitative influence, or in other words, there is no mundane difference of value because these sentiments are all on the absolute plane. Such sentiments are definitely not absent in the absolute, as the impersonalists think, making their mundane estimation of this transcendental world. Om Gyanati Mirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshuru Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Sarasvate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadatara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namah Vishnu Padaya Krishna Tashtaya Putale Srimate Chandamam Swami Nityananda. So, again, the verse. The personality of Godhead, Ramachandra, being aggrieved for his distant intimate friend, Sita, glanced over the city of the enemy Ravana with red-hot eyes like those of Hara, who wanted to burn the kingdom of heaven. The great ocean, trembling in fear, gave him his way because its family members, the aquatics like the sharks, snakes, and crocodiles, were being burned by the heat of the angry, red-hot eyes of the Lord. So it's a very interesting verse, I think, because in this section of the Srimad Bhagavatam, again, the different incarnations of the Lord are listed. And if you think about it, when we speak about Lord Ramachandra, we generally used to say how such a perfect king, such a perfect son, such a perfect husband he was and is in the spiritual world. But here, we don't hear about his anger. And it's very interesting that there are only a few verses mentioned here about him, summarizing the story of the Ramayana. But one verse specifically speaks about his emotions and his extreme emotion manifesting in anger. And the different forms of the Lord manifest different qualities and different emotions, different moods. Usually Lord Ramachandra is not the symbol of anger. When we speak about anger, we generally think of Lord Nrsimhadev. But Srila Prabhupada mentioned that the different incarnations of the Lord are like, there is one candle and which has light, and you use this candle to light all the other candles, and all of them will be the same, and the first candle's light won't be any less than the others. So this is also the same. It also goes for the avatars of the Lord. But what happens is that although they are not different, they are not any of them less than the others. But what we speak about here is that they manifest different qualities according to their role, their mood, what they express. And I heard one interesting example, like just imagine Lord Nrsimhadev, who is the same Lord as the other forms of the Lord. And after killing Hiranyakashipu, and Lakshmi Devi comes, his consort, and just imagine not Hiranyakashipu, Lord Nrsimhadev starting a rasa dance with Lakshmi Devi. So obviously it's not that mood. It's not happening because he has a different role as this kind of incarnation. But it doesn't mean that he is not able to do it. For example, Krishna also came as Lord Ramachandra, not Lord Chaitanya. And as Lord Chaitanya, he didn't do such big acts like, like pulling out the whole earth from the ocean or killing big demons. But when Jagai and Madai hurt Lord Nityananda, then Lord Chaitanya really became angry, and even he manifested that yes, he has a chakra, and he's able to use it. And Lord Nityananda was the one who convinced him that this is not that mood, so please not use the chakra at this time. But he was able to use it. But as Lord Chaitanya, he expressed a different mood and not the same as Hiranyakashipu. And we can see other avatars' angers also. So, for example, in the pastime of Lord Varahadev, he was also very much he was also angry. It was expressed in the pastime because Hiranyaksha was calling Lord Varahadev different names and offending him, like, saying that, oh, you are such a lovely creature, doing your activities in the mud, and what a lovely nature it is, and spoke like this. And Lord Varahadev was angry, but not the same way as, for example, Nisimhadev, because the Lord anger doesn't take control of him, so he's always able to control his anger, and while he was offended, uh, he is totally able to manage it and use his anger, utilize it in a proper way. But when he came as Lord Nisimhadev, it wasn't he himself who was offended, but his devotee. And his anger was expressed according to that, because it's not the Lord himself who has his heart, but the devotees have his heart. And when the devotees are offended, then the Lord's anger really, really blows. So that's why Lord Nisimhadev expressed such extreme anger. And here we also see that in this verse it is said that red hot eyes. It's very interesting because in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam there are two verses when we see how Arjuna's anger manifests when Uttara was attacked by Ashwatthama. And it was also mentioned there that he also had red eyes due to his anger. But in the next verse, although Krishna was also angry, his eyes were referred to like lotus eyes. So Srila Prabhupada in the purport also emphasized this point, that Arjuna's anger and Krishna's anger was different. But here we see that, yes, Lord Ramachandra can also have red hot eyes, and he was angry at the ocean. And let's check out the pastime, why he was angry. And so we know that Lord Ramachandra was banished from the kingdom and spent 13 years already in exile. And then Sita Devi was kidnapped by Ravana, and she was imprisoned on the island of Lanka. So after some search, Lord Ramachandra, with the help of the Vanaras, Lord Hanuman, he found that Sita Devi is on this island, and only the ocean separated them, and they started to think about how to cross the ocean. And at that time, Ravana's brother Vibhishana also arrived, and the Vanaras were somewhat still suspicious about him, but Lord Ramachandra was really happy that one of his devotees came, and just consider the two of consider like a brother, actually. And it manifested here that when they were thinking about how to cross the ocean, he asked both Vibhishan and Lakshman about their ideas, what they should do. And this is such a high position. It's really, really heart touching that a demon comes and immediately in such a great task, his opinion, uh, I mean, relative of a demon, I would say. So his opinion matters to such an extent. So his idea was that, my dear Lord, we should pray and pacify the personality of the ocean, and ask for the ocean's support to cross it. But Lakshman said something really different. He said that, yeah, but we don't have so much time. So we don't have time to, make sacrifices, meditation, and whatever. We should just cross the ocean by force. And these are two very different opinions. So um, just one extra point here, that sometimes we think that these scriptures are not so relevant in our times, but here in this part of the pastime we can see the very relevant situation to our lives about deadlines. Because Lord Ramachandra had two deadlines here. One was that when Hanuman visited Sita Devi said that she can carry on with her life for 1 month, and if Lord Ramachandra cannot come in that period of time, she won't be able to continue on with her life. And also there was another deadline because Bharat, back in Ayodhya, said that he will manage the issues of the kingdom for 14 years. But if Lord Ramachandra won't be back in that period of time, then he will give up his life. And that was also a very, very much pressuring point, because I think they had 1 month. No, not a little bit more than 1 month also for that. So it's not like they have so much time to manage this situation, but Lord Ramachandra chose to try out both suggestions. So first he started to pray to the personality of the ocean and try to please him to support their journey towards the island. It was a long way because they couldn't even see the island. So it was so far that it's not like they could swim over. And also, the past time when Hanuman jumped over the ocean and there were so many strong demons. Here in this verse, we see that there were sharks, snakes, crocodiles, and also those demons. So it was a difficult travel, even by swimming. So anyway, Lord Ramachandra tried out first the first suggestion, but the ocean didn't react. And after 3 days, Lord Ramachandra really became angry because he's the supreme, not the supreme, but the personality of Godhead. And here is the ocean, one of his servants. And this is such a crucial situation with the need to be ready in time, and tried the peaceful way also. And in the end, we see what the verse here mentions, that he had red hot eyes, and it's mentioned a few times in this verse, in the purport. So first he used an arrow which was like this thunder type of arrow, and after that started to use the Brahmastra. And then the personality of the ocean became frightened, and also because here we see that Lord Ramachandra's anger was so powerful that all these creatures of the ocean were being burned hot. So the anger of Lord Ramachandra convinced the personality of the ocean to manifest and offer prayers and respect to Lord Ramachandra, and promising to support their journey through the ocean. So we know what happened next, that they made this bridge through the ocean, and very gloriously they traveled through it. So I read one very nice description of it. There is a Ramayan series of books mentioning how, with all the demigods accompanied, and chanted prayers and glorifications, and throwing flower petals, but also all these creatures came, and the bridge became even wider, not just made out of rocks, but also it became like twice as wide, because all the creatures of the sea came, and like a second like an extension of the bridge acted. So it was an amazing crowd going through the ocean, and when the last person, which was Hanuman, with Lord Ramachandra, crossed the ocean, then the other half of the bridge, these living creatures, they immediately went back to the ocean. So it was a very amazing pastime, uh, both about how Lord Ramachandra can make bridges crossing the ocean, but also about making bridges between different people, because he used this situation to cross the bridges, I mean, these big gaps between Vibhishan and the Vanaras, Lakshman, so they started to appreciate also him. So this was the pastime, but I really like to always think about how it's relevant to us. One thing is that, which Srila Prabhupada mentions in the purport, that we see here that the Lord is not like, peacefully floating in the air somewhere high in the skies, and without any other emotions, and anger and so many other emotions doesn't really suit him, because he is God. But he has emotions, and that's why we also have these emotions, because he also has them. And but when we speak, so what about our anger, and how to see these? Because our anger is different from his anger. Here in the verse and the purport, we can see that one thing is the quantity, because as Srila Prabhupada mentioned, when we glance at the ocean, or even a small puddle on the street with burning red hot eyes, with totally frustrated anger, then this puddle won't react in any way. But Lord Ramachandra, when he had this kind of eyes, it really had such a big effect, because he is God and we are not, obviously. And we also saw this part which I mentioned from the first canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, that it was also mentioned that even Arjuna's anger and Krishna's anger was different. So how we should see our anger. And I will change the screen sharing. I have a PowerPoint, and I hope it will be properly shown.
It's visible, good.
It's visible? Oh, okay. Super. Thank you so much. So this is just a few slides about sometimes what is our impersonal view of emotions, that we think that all these things, that happy, sad, angry, surprised, and other emotions are, yes, these are the material emotions. But when we are speaking about spiritual emotions, these are all like motivated, focused, joyful, peaceful, calm, contemplative, and so on. And these are the so-called spiritual emotions. I remember that once I saw and shared on Facebook a picture. First line was like material emotions is the first first picture, and below spiritual emotions are just smiling emojis with tilaks. And someone commented,
I'm not sure if you're aware, but you're still on the first slide. I'm not sure if you want to show exactly what you're
"Oh,
talking about.
it's
I think
still
it's
the
the
first
second and
one."
third slide.
This you don't see the second.
It's focused on the first, so if you
Oh,
go to
okay.
the second, then we'll see what you're talking about. There you go.
Oh,
We didn't see the
but
second either.
but now you
Okay.
see it. Okay,
Yes, now we
I
do.
will stay in this sharing mode then, because I started the playing the slides, but it seems that okay. So thank you so much for the feedback. So these are the material emotions, and when it's spiritual, then it's just, you know, smiling emojis with tilak on them. And someone commented this post of mine that it's the impersonal view. But when we properly understand Krishna consciousness, then we understand that we have the same same emojis, but with tilak on them. and this is sometimes a confusion, that when we are Krishna conscious, then we cannot be sad, because then we are in Maya. We cannot be angry. We cannot be scared. We cannot be disgusted. But it's not like that. When these are connected with Krishna, then these are spiritual. And so two false concepts about emotions and spirituality. One is that this so-called spiritual sentimentalism, when we think that yes, I have to. Maybe the quote is not really suitable for the, oh yeah, because here it's mentioned that that mm, that service, devotional service, is joyfully performed. So when we are doing devotional service, then we cannot feel anything else than just joy, pure joy. And the other part is that spirituality means that we are renounced, and sometimes when we are practicing above our level, then we try to be renounced, but there is no taste, no real taste yet. So we just become rigid and artificially renounced, but it's ultimately this is also impersonal. So emotions are very much present in spirituality, and when we think about it, Krishna says that when we offer flower, leaf, water, then he will accept it when it is offered with love and devotion, which are emotions. So he need our emotions to be offered, not the flower or the water itself. And I will come back to this point, but I thought of speaking a little bit about going into the details of the emotions. What is the source? What are the different categories? How to handle uh, connection with God, and how to purify them. So just to mention the basics, we know that we have different layers materially. So inside there is this Russian doll, like one smaller doll in a bigger one and a bigger one. And this is how I imagine my body and spirit soul. So inside the really the innermost part, there is the spirit soul, and also together with the super soul. But all these two are covered with the subtle physical level, the mind, the intelligence, and the false ego. And even more outer layer is the gross physical level, which is the body, the senses, etc. And when we speak about emotions, of course, the mind is the most important part, because mind thinks, feels, and desires. And these are quite interconnected. We will speak about this. When we speak about the desires, the mind accepts and rejects. And based on this, the other things, feelings and thoughts will come. And there is one very interesting class from Bhaktivigyan Goswami. It's about the emotions in chanting the holy name. And he went into detail how these emotions work. So, and also for me, it was very interesting, because at some time I had this question that when we have desires, is the desire of the soul or the desire or the mind which has the desire? And it's really important, because the mind is a material part and not really us ourselves, but the soul is our real self. So we know that the soul is Satchit and Ananda, so its nature is to be happy. And obviously, the soul endeavors to be happy. So it's totally natural and its nature. And this powerful energy, this desire to be happy, goes outward. And I shown it's like, it's a channel, so that's why I connect. It's connected, but there are different layers to it. So through the heart, it reaches the subtle body and the mind, and through different stages, this desire to be happy will take a certain form of how to be happy. So the desire to be happy is coming from the soul, but the form, how the living entity wants to be happy, that is the product of the material body, the false ego, the mind, and this is how it will manifest toward the outer world. Just to mention an example, so just imagine that you are a man and you see a beautiful Mataji in the temple, and the connection and the desires will manifest according to your identity, your false ego, if you are a male or a female. So for example, a lady sees another beautiful Mataji, nicely dressed, and, oh, where did you buy your sari? Or, oh, wow, your earrings are really beautiful. I really would like to have these. But a man will connect in a different way. For example, if he's a brahmachari, then the desire is to keep some distance, because that's according to culture. If a grihastha person already married, then probably he's chaste, and then he also will respectfully approach the lady. If he's not so chaste, then maybe, although doesn't approach, then maybe we're just checking out from time to time, because nice vision this lady. If a single person who wants to get married, then maybe he will want to connect to the Mataji. Or if someone knows that, oh, she's very good with cooking, and I need to find some person who will cook for such and such sannyasi, and then will approach, because has this desire to engage the person in service. So according to this situation, the desire for the same so-called sense object will manifest differently. And all of these persons just want to be happy, but in a different way, according to their identity and according to their situation. And when we speak about emotions, according to the Vedas, there are three different categories of these emotions. And one is raga, which is attachment or the taste, the feeling when which comes from fulfilling our desires and the desire to be fulfilled. And when it is not fulfilled, then comes the other two, either bhaya, which is fear, or krodha, which is anger. And when there are such great obstacles that that we cannot control anything about the situation, like I want to live long, but now I have a certain type of illness which is very severe and cannot be cured, then fear comes that what will happen because I'm not in control. But if I can control the situation, then comes anger, and this will give the energy to change the situation and to achieve the certain goal, to have raga. And it was mentioned in these classes that it's very interesting that from different sources, I would say I heard this, that there are sometimes we mix up what are desires and what are emotions. So desire is something when I want to connect with the sense subject in a certain way. So the desire is directed from me to the outer world. And then something will happen based on the circumstances, and there will be some kind of results, which means that either I can fulfill my desires or there are some kind of obstacles. And this will raise some kind of emotions in me. So the emotions are the result from the feedback from the world. And also Bhakti-Vigyan Goswami said that that thoughts are the results of emotions. So these are how these three come together. It was very interesting because he mentioned that sometimes we think that in our japa, thoughts are the problems. That's why we cannot control our attention. But because thoughts are the results of emotions, actually emotions are the problem. That's what we cannot control. But this is just some sidetrack now, but I thought it's very interesting. So this is how these things work, and this shows that, for example, because we are speaking about anger here, it means that we had some kind of desire which couldn't be fulfilled, and that's why anger arose in us. So one interesting thing is also one question which we should ask, that what kind of desire and what kind of attachment I had which wasn't fulfilled and resulted anger in me. And what I can do to handle the desire itself, because sometimes we want to handle the anger, but there is a cause to the anger, and usually we just want to handle the symptom, not the cause. And here, one very key point is that in the Uddhava Gita of Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 11, Krishna speaks to Uddhava and says that lamentation, elation, fear, anger, greed, confusion, and hankering, as well as birth and death. And birth and death are not this category, but all the previous ones were all emotions. And he says that these are experiences of the false ego and not of the pure soul. So one thing is that the emotion arises in the mind, but what experiences the emotion is the false ego. So it's always connected with our identity. It always comes back to this point. And I mentioned that we have to be concerned about the source of the emotions, but first we have to get through the emotion itself. And in order to be able to do that, we shouldn't identify with these emotions. And that's our problem most of the time, that we identify with them so much that we cannot handle them merely as messengers. So just imagine a king who manages a country and some messenger comes from from somewhere, someplace. And the messenger can carry different kinds of messages, like, oh, the neighboring country's king wants you to marry his daughter. So that's a nice message. Sometimes they carry message like, the neighboring king attacked your country, so you are in war with them. Or they can bring message like, there is a revolution in one of your cities. And just imagine what happens if the king, oh, this messenger brought a bad news, so I will kill him. And that will settle everything. Or this messenger brought some bad news, so I will imprison him. And that will settle the situation. Everything will be nice. So, or sometimes the news is good, and then they start to celebrate and also don't bother with the news, how to handle them. So sometimes this is what we do, because if there are some bad news that, oh, I'm angry or I'm envious, then, oh, just quickly sweep this emotion under the rug, and then everything is settled. I don't see it anymore, and then it's nice. But this won't solve the situation. And what happens? That when there will be so much dust and emotions swept under the rug, at some point it will just blow out, and everything will come in our face. And this shows that it's not a proper way how to handle them. So for example, sometimes we try to imitate that. This is the sweeping under the rug. We imitate that. Oh yeah, I'm angry, but I'm acting like I'm not. I'm totally calm and whatever. But anger still works inside. And the Upadeshamrita, we can hear about it that. It seems to be a bit different topic. Like not following the rules is a problem in bhakti, an obstacle. But if we are just following for the sake of following, that's also a problem. And when we are not dealing with our emotions, it means that we are just following the symptoms. So I'm calm because anger is one of the different emotions which lead me to hell. But and I cannot be angry, but I didn't deal with my emotion. So following should be done in a certain way, and it means that that considering all the facts, not denying them. Oh, what? Sorry, I lost track what I wanted to speak about. Yeah, so I should consider all the facts what are happening now, and not deny the emotions what's happening, and consciously about the rule and the goal and the science behind the rules. I should follow according to that. So, for example, just imagine when you're chanting your japa. You can do it. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Oh, when will my 16th round will be over? Because that's what I vowed at the initiation, and it should be done. But it's totally different. Like when you're really paying attention and meditate on Krishna. And yes, I'm a servant of Krishna. I would like to cry out to him for his protection, for love for him, and that's when we are conscious about the rule. And we should practice according to our level, our current level. And this is also true for emotions. So when we just sweep under the rug, then it is in the mode of ignorance, because it means that there are some facts and we act like they are not there. Just part of the world which is inside us is neglected and just pushed aside. But that's also part of the reality. So Srila Prabhupada mentioned that we should be conscious. And so don't be just satisfied with practicing the symptoms of a rule, but follow the essence of it. So not just practice the symptom that, okay, I'm calm, I'm not angry, but follow the essence that, okay, I'm angry. What is the cause? How can I connect it with Krishna? If I should be tolerant or if something should be done. Because the goal of anger is that when something should be done, it gives the energy. And there is one interesting, it's not from spiritual sources, but it's a certain method how to handle emotions. It's called ruler, and the initials of the steps of the method gives this this word, acronym, I think that's the word. So first step is that we recognize that we have some kind of emotion. In regards to anger, sometimes we deny that we are angry, but we can see the symptoms like red eyes, which we see in this verse, or sometimes high blood pressure, or shaking of the body. So just recognize the symptoms that, oh, there is something here I should deal with. So this second step is understanding the cause. What it means that yes, something happened, like someone offended me, said some words about me, some gossip about me, which upset me, and this is the problem. The third part is labeling the emotion. It means that I identify that, okay, I know what are the symptoms, I know what causes it, and I identify that, yes, I feel sadness, I feel disappointment, I feel anger, or I'm nervous or whatever, and identify the extent. Extent is also important because sometimes if it's the quantity of the extent, or the measurement of the extent of the emotion is small, then I will be able to tolerate. But after some extent, if it's really big, then I won't be able to tolerate. And this is also helpful when I can decide that, okay, if I should tolerate, or if I should act, avoid, or some other method to use. So these first three parts are about our inner work. So far I didn't do anything, just identified whatever is happening in me. And this is the bigger part of the work, because all the others will depend on this. Oh, yeah, this is, before I continue, this is also a very important part, because many times we feel that when we have some kind of emotion, some people think that they can control it, and some people think that they cannot control it. So where is our free will in this situation, if we are able to or not? And as I heard, so when we identify and understand and label the emotions, then we will be able to control them. Because if we don't identify them and we are not conscious about them, then we are in the mode of ignorance and how to control these emotions. Then inevitably they will control me. And so many times we are thinking about if we have free will, but there is another question, and we forget about that one, that if I have free will, do I utilize it? Because so many times we have different options, and we will inevitably just see one of them, or we'll be able to follow one of them. And that is many times also why one of the reasons why it's so important to have the advice and guidance of senior devotees, of spiritual master, because they can see all the other options, and sometimes give a slight kick or a harder kick to even follow that option. Because here what happens is that Krishna speaks about it in the Bhagavad Gita, that the spirit soul is bewildered by the influence of false ego, thinks himself the doer of activities, but that are in actuality carried out by the three modes of material nature. Because if we don't reach at least the level of goodness, then what happens is that the mode of ignorance and the mode of passion will drag us down and just immediately pushes us into a certain direction. And that is how we lose our free will. Like when there is a part of the 4 regulative principles that we don't smoke. And for some people, it's so difficult to give up smoking, but still they say that, oh, you poor people, you cannot smoke, because they tell you so, and you're not able to do that, even if you want to do. Maybe we hear it more connected to eating meat. Oh, you cannot eat meat, although these are so tasty. But if you ask these people that, okay, then please try out that you don't smoke for 2 weeks. And they won't be able to do that. We are the ones who made a conscious choice of doing something, and they are the ones who are dragged by the senses and cannot do anything else because the lower modes just pull them. So this is why it's so important to identify what happens inside, because then we will have, to some extent, some kind of control. Then we will have some liberty to act how we want to. And then the last two points. Last 2 points come. Express in an appropriate way this emotion, but also regulate it. So regulating means that one thing is that, for example, when we sleep enough and we waited for some time after a situation, a conflict, to just calm down and then handle it. So we do our own part, how to peacefully handle this, because this will let ourselves and also others to experience all emotions. So it's not like many times people say that, oh yes, I'm just honest. And in the name of honesty, they are actually rude. And this is why we need to regulate. So expressing is important, but at the same time, some kind of regulation also should be there, so that we can express it properly, and we can regulate the situation, that we will be able to function more likely in the mode of goodness. And yeah, I think I just switch back to the verse. So this is what I wanted to say about emotions. And in regards to anger, because we are speaking of anger here, so controlling anger doesn't mean that we should get rid of anger, because that's not the point. I mentioned that we also embrace emotions in spiritual life, because we need to offer emotions to Krishna, and we need to reciprocate with emotions with him. But we still need to control in order to utilize it in a proper way. So when we surrender to Krishna, there are 6 different aspects to it mentioned in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, and the first 2 are that we accept everything. No, this is not there. Sorry, but anyway, so we accept everything which is beneficial for devotional service, and we reject everything which is not beneficial and an obstacle in devotional service. And sometimes it happens that anger can be beneficial. For example, we saw that there is this famous pastime of Srila Prabhupada, when there were 2 disciples present, and he chastised one of them, and the other saw that, oh, Srila Prabhupada is so heavy, and was very much afraid what will happen when the other disciple will go away, and he will have to he would have to deal with this mood, but he was very surprised to see that the other disciple was chastised and went away, and Srila Prabhupada acted like nothing happened. He wasn't under the control of anger, but when it was needed in order to properly discipline a disciple who needed it, then he utilized it. But it's very important to have the intelligence that when to utilize it. So we have to learn when to use it, how to use it, how we should use it in a way that it doesn't control us. So use anger not in the lower modes, because anger is the combination of the mode of ignorance and the mode of passion. But we should use it above these modes. So it should be connected with Krishna properly, and when we connect it with Krishna, it's like a flower or like a food preparation that we can offer it to Krishna, because this is also some kind of material facility which we can offer to Krishna. And one last point, and I think I will conclude with this, that when we want to deal with anger, there are spiritual solutions and there are material solutions. And sometimes we think that we need to choose between the two. But we need to know that the ultimate solution is the spiritual solution, like hearing, like chanting, like different practical services, offering prayers and all these different angas of devotional service. But the problem with this is that many times, these affect so many areas of our lives in a permanent way. So it's not just a temporary solution, but because it works slowly and not just in a localized way for the certain problem, it's not so easy to see the changes. When we use material solutions, it can be localized, that it's for the certain situation, and it's very visible soon. But the problem is that on the long term, while associating with the lower modes, it won't be a permanent solution, but it will be just temporary. Still, it doesn't mean that we should just reject the material solutions, because they can help to utilize the spiritual solutions in a more efficient way. So like we are controlling our anger with material techniques, it means that we won't commit so many Vaishnava aparats in the future, so it won't be such an obstacle in the spiritual solution. So like material solution is like not pouring water while we are trying to ignite the fire. So the fire is the spiritual solution, and it will vaporize. I mean, all the humidity will just go to thin air, but we can stop this pouring water if we use the material solutions. So we can combine the two together, and that will be really nicely efficient. And yeah, I think yeah, and Krishna also gave these material solutions, so it's not like it's independent from him. So we can use everything in his service. Sorry, this was a marathon today, but I finished it, and please open up for discussions. I'm sorry that I couldn't really calculate properly with the time.
Thank you. Thank you, Radha Vinodini, for a very comprehensive explanation of how our emotions can actually mislead us and how, when properly handled, they can actually help us. I think it is very essential for us to understand this, because in bhakti, We have to deal with the mind, with the senses, with the emotions, and we have to do it with intelligence. Intelligence which is sharpened by spiritual knowledge is real intelligence. So what you have done is given us a complete, A to Z of how to do it. I agree, it's very heavy. It's not easy to digest. In fact, I would really love to look at those slides again and study them at leisure. But for now, let's open up to questions, comments, realizations, sharing. Srimati is a little bit busy, so she has asked me to handle the question and answers part of today's session. I hope you all don't mind, because I know everyone misses Srimati when she's not there.
Yeah, but we are so very much like you, so
Oh.
so we are happy that you are here. There is one or maybe two questions in the chat.
Yes.
So
Hare Krishna Mataji, a wonderful class. That's Sonal telling you. Is anger a spiritual emotion or a material one? 2. While we still do not have complete spiritual identity and identify ourselves with the body, how can we use our anger for spiritual purpose? Isn't it better to always control our anger, as it's always material in our case?
So the first question is a more simple one, because when anger is connected with Krishna and used in his service, then it's spiritual. So we see that in the Battle of Kurukshetra, Arjuna was so peacefully tried to escape the war, but still Krishna wanted something else. And for Kshatriyas, for example, they can properly do their duties if there is some kind of anger supporting their fight. Peacefully meditating and fighting doesn't go together so well. So it can be spiritual if it's used properly in Krishna's service, but if it's not connected with him in a proper way, because, for example, I would say that if we are, for example, angry at devotees, it's in some way it's connected to Krishna because it's connected with his devotees, but in this case it will be an offense. So it's again completely different. So we need to study the scriptures to properly understand the nature of how anger works in different situations. And I mean, anger is not so specific in these regards, because all the other feelings and sense objects and other stuff work in the same way. Some kind of material facility, how it can be spiritualized if it's properly used in Krishna's service in a way that it's pleasing for him, without us having some kind of personal agenda. Then it is spiritual. Otherwise, it can be mixed, or there is some personal agenda, or it can be totally material. And the second point, that while we still do not have complete spiritual identity and identify ourselves with the body, how can we use our anger for spiritual purpose? Srila Prabhupada's answer for this was that we should direct our anger towards the demoniac personalities. And I think this mostly summarizes it, because sometimes it happens that there is some kind of misunderstandings amongst devotees, and then anger can arise. But even if it's used in service, sometimes it's not so helpful. But anger, I would say that anger can be expressed in different ways, and if it's beneficial for service, I mean, the result will be that something will be better. I will mention an example. I think that will clarify it. So it was quite many years ago that I had some kind of anger came up in me, because I saw that, there are less and less kirtan programs in our temple, and somehow Holy Name Festival was cancelled. And what's happening here? We don't do our, this is the main process in our age, and we neglect to do it. And it was, quite frankly, it was anger. But I wouldn't say that I don't know if it was spiritual or material at this point. But, for days and days, I was just being in this angry mood that, oh, why don't do it differently, and something should be done. But after some time, I decided that, okay, I should be more not peaceful about it, but uh, what to do about it, which is appropriate. And at some point, I called the temple president and asked him that, just revealing what are my difficulties. And the end, I asked if he knows of any type of service which I could do, which would encourage the devotees to chant the holy name. And, the source was anger, but because it was expressed in an appropriate way. And then I also got to know what was the problem from the temple's side, that they didn't have enough devotees to organize and whatsoever. Then we could agree that, okay, 2 times a year I will be able to organize Holy Name Festival, and they can continue and go on. So this was an example that there was anger, but because it was handled properly, it became something spiritual. But if it doesn't happen, and I just carry on with this anger, and, oh, these leaders are such pretenders, they don't even like the holy name, they don't know what's important, and just carry on this mood and go deeper and deeper, then it really becomes detrimental and really an obstacle in devotional service, because I go deeper and deeper in Vaishnava Aparad. So sometimes if anger is there or not, it's not really a problem in the beginning, and maybe not even so important how to analyze if it's spiritual or not. But as the question how I can utilize this anger in a beneficial way to do something that the end result will be devotional service. Maybe it's just in a way that I go to the grocery shop and they were rude with me, and I just set a nice example, and the person will see that, oh, this person is a Hare Krishna, wears tilak and whatsoever, and, oh, she behaved so nicely, and he or she will have a better idea of the devotees. Maybe it's so simple like that. But even this means that it becomes preaching. But yeah, so handling is very important, what to do with anger, because it's the same, just as I mentioned, it's like a flower. Using a flower, you can do so many things. One thing is to offer it to Krishna, but another thing, just put in your hair, or give it to someone else, or just trample on it, or you can do so many things. And anger is the same. It's some kind of facility, and how to use it, that's the question. I think that's all I could say. But yes, sorry.
Yeah, very nice. Very nicely explained, Radha Vinodini. If I recall correctly, Guru Maharaj also said that apart from being angry at the demons for the havoc they're creating, one can become angry at one's own laziness in devotional
Oh,
service.
yes.
And the third thing he said is one can get angry with one's relatives who are blocking our Krishna conscious activities. Those are the 3 ways we can use our anger. Or rather, we should channel anger in those ways. Actually, there's so much to change about our own selves before we get angry with others. If you think about how many ways we are not doing things right, there's enough work right there.
Yes, but this also also leads to this point of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, when he said that when someone causes frustration in ourselves, the first thing is not to be angry. The first thing is to check what's inside us, why it triggers us. So it can be used in multiple ways. Yeah. Thank you so much for adding, because this really is an important point.
Yeah. When faults in others misguide and delude us, have patience, introspect, find fault with yourself first. Remember that no one can harm you except your own self.
Yes.
So that's, of course, a very, very elevated state of consciousness. And that's why we need this kind of discussions which you are holding so that we can discuss everything, get a better understanding. Thank you.
Yes,
Any
and I think that this is why it's important to also understand the extent of our anger, because it will show us if we can tolerate or we should do something. Because if we think that we can tolerate, but in reality we are not able to do that, then in due course of time it will just lead to more frustration and more offense to others.
Mhm, mhm.
Mm.
I was also wondering, Radha Vinodini, since we don't have any questions on the chat and I at least don't see any hands raised, I was
Mhm.
wondering if you could speak about the times when we should get angry and we don't. uh, Certain relationships where I see one spouse just tolerating so much abuse, so much wrong treatment, and they don't react, they don't get angry, they simply tolerate. Is that a good way to handle it, or is there something one should do? Because, Guru Maharaj, I remember saying that abuse is a mental illness and one should take action in such cases. So, could you speak about the time when we should be upset and angry?
Well, there are different situations
Mm-hmm.
when this can be done. One is it's not really anger, maybe, but then I think this also goes into that category, because, for example, like this pastime of Srila Prabhupada, when maybe he wasn't angry, but he expressed anger. I
Mm-hmm.
would say that's so when there is some kind of responsibility, and it's mentioned that different people are different on different levels of learners. So there are those who can just hear once and they can follow instructions properly, but there are those who has to see experience in some way by seeing like what happened to others who didn't follow. And there are some who cannot even learn by that, and then they have to experience certain things themselves. So my point here is that sometimes it happens that you just say nicely to someone who is, for example, you are a mentor and you need to guide someone, and you say it nicely, but nothing happens. And there has to be some kind of power due course of time, that because if you don't mm, act in this situation, then you are not doing your service properly. I mean, not you, but sorry. So if someone doesn't correct, if it's needed, then in a powerful way, then it's a problem. And another type which you mentioned is when when there is this abuse, and it's tricky because I think the problem is that it doesn't happen from one day to another. Like, you live in a happy marriage, and that just from one day to another, the spouse turned 180 degrees and start to act differently, because then you will be able to immediately react, because you see that there is something wrong. But the problem is that these difficulties come gradually, first in a small degree, then a little bit bigger, bigger. And it's like, some kind of training to the victim to, okay, now I can bear with a little bit, but okay, now somehow I can manage, then with some little bit more comes, and okay, I will manage that. And in the end, doesn't even notice how they got to the extreme point. And that's the difficulty. And another difficulty is when the victim is many times ashamed. I remember it's a bit different topic, but I was like 11 or 12 years old and was walking on the street with one of my friends, and some men came from the other side. And while we were crossing, just going beside each other, he touched one of my bodily parts, which is more private. And I remember that the whole day I was like oh my God, what happened? But it was at least 20 years or something when I could first speak about it to someone. And it's such a small thing in one sense, because it's not like there are other ladies who experience much, much worse. And I wasn't even such a young child at that time, but still, it happens that there is such shame and don't know how to reveal it. There is nothing to do. No one can undo it, and in the end, just carry this emotional weight. And I think it's similar when there is abuse, because maybe I'm not a good wife, maybe I'm not a good husband, maybe I should be more tolerant, especially as a devotee, we think that we should tolerate. And that's a problem, why it becomes so difficult. And I think that the biggest help in this is when there is a very, very good confidential friend, because then we are more comfortable to share whatever is happening to us. And the other person is not so much involved emotionally, and she or he can help that, oh, this is something which is not normal in a marriage, because maybe we believe that this is normal. And this is one point why it's so important to have very deep confidential relationships, friends.
Thank you. Thank you, Radha Vinodini. That helps us to understand the dynamics much better. And believe me, I totally get it when you explain that incident, because a similar thing happened to me when I was a teenager, and the sense of violation that we feel and the sense of shock that such a thing can happen, and it stays with you for days and months and
Yeah.
years sometimes, because you don't know how to handle it. You don't know what is supposed to be done, and you don't know whom to tell, how they will react. Yeah, thank you. Sorry. Sonal is asking one more question. She says, how can we use our emotions to help our japa?
Ooh, good question. Let me think about it. One thing which comes to my mind is that Srila Prabhupada once was asked that there are so many things in the mind while we are chanting. So how to deal with these things? And he was like, "What kind of things and thoughts in the mind? You just hear properly." And I remember when, it was quite some years ago, when Bhutta Bhavana Prabhu gave class about the different levels of sound in Ljubljana, in our disciples retreat, and he made this experiment of how we can simulate these certain levels. And he also mentioned that whenever we hear about, when we hear Srila Prabhupada's statements about chanting the holy name, we can identify which level he's speaking of. So these are the physical level, the level of the mind, the level of the intelligence, and the level of the spirit soul. And the first experiment was just just think whatever you want to, and just chant the holy name. And the mind is not there, no emotions are there, nothing is there, but the sound is there, the physical sound. And the second level was that first we read the Maha Mantra for, I don't know, 1 minute or for some period of time, and just to focus on the words and keep this picture in our mind with the text of the mantra, and meditate on that and pay attention to what we hear. And then we chanted for 1 minute. And it was so obvious that what difference there was in the power of that chanting. And usually we speak about this, that we have to hear the sound. This is the level of the mind. But if we go further, the third experiment was that he projected a beautiful picture of Krishna and just meditate and just absorb this picture and then chant while remembering this picture. And that becomes even more powerful because there is a form and we can relate, and then emotions are coming because, oh, this is such a beautiful picture. Oh, I want to meet Krishna, and because he's so beautiful, I can see it and experience with my senses. There was no fourth experiment because that is something which is, how to say, not, it's on a different level, but from these experiments it was obvious that sometimes we are just on the first level, sometimes we are able to reach the second level. And Srila Prabhupada's point was to at least, many times he spoke about it, that at least reach the second level. He doesn't say like this, but this is what he speaks about it. Just listen to the sounds. So even that's a challenge. If we try to focus on emotions, sometimes it's more challenging. But when the attention is there, then emotions will come at some point. So that's even more higher level. So at least what I follow is that I'm not on a level that I would be able to so nicely utilize emotions during japa. So I just try to focus at least what I hear. But even then, it doesn't mean that it's emotionless, because sometimes when Krishna reciprocates in a way, we experience emotions. And as I understand Srila Prabhupada's statements is that we shouldn't artificially invoke certain emotions in ourselves, but when we reach that level, then we will be able to do that. But if we don't reach that level, then the problem is that we just try to, whatever I mentioned, that to practice the symptoms, but it will just drag the attention away, because I think about the happiness, the picture of Krishna, but then the mind will, oh yeah, this picture was this shade of blue is the same as the I don't know, whatever material, and somehow the thoughts will just be dragged away. So first, the attention should be there, and when we reach the level of the mind, when we can just hear whatever is said, then that's perfect for that level, and emotions will naturally come. So if it comes, then don't reject it, because many times it's Krishna's reciprocation. But artificially trying to invoke these emotions may not be so beneficial, because maybe our attention will be dragged away. So this is my understanding, but maybe others understand differently. I would be interested in your, Sridevi Mataji, in your experiences in this regard, because I'm sure you have.
Well, as you were speaking, I was thinking about Srila Prabhupada's instructions when he was asked, Srila Prabhupada, what should we do when we are chanting japa? What should we think? He said, don't think anything, don't do anything, just hear. Of course, that is just for our monkey mind to start focusing on the sound vibration. But Srila Prabhupada also said that cry for Krishna like a child calling out for its mother. because we are suffering so much in this material world. And this japa is a calling out, hey Govinda, hey Krishna, dear Radharani, please engage me in your devotional service. Please accept me. Please allow me to serve you, like that. So when we start thinking about the meaning of the Mahamantra as we are chanting, then, in our own small, humble way, we can try to access those emotions which will help us to actually connect to Radha Krishna, pleading to them to accept us, to allow us to engage in devotional service, and then to purify us, to rid us of our material attachments, to make us more firmly situated in bhakti. All these are prayers, as you rightly said, as we go through the different stages, that they will naturally come. We don't, as you again rightly said, we don't artificially try to evoke some emotion, but as we develop our relationship with Krishna, these things will naturally arise in the heart. That's just my humble take on it. I don't know if that's very helpful, but since you asked, I'm just, contributing.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I think it also leads to a very important point. I lately listened to a class which was about the importance of hearing. And the main point of the class was that what can we think about, what can we meditate on by chanting if we don't hear? And I was really thinking about this. I was thinking about this while you mentioned this crying, because crying for Krishna is really important. It's just many times I see that so many times we don't understand how difficult our situation is, and we have to follow a process of understanding this, and then we can sincerely cry out, because sometimes we think that, oh yeah, it's so terrible. Oh, but today in the evening I will have some nice pizza party. It will be good, and there are still some nice things in the world, and with 2 feet, it's nice that we have 2 feet, because we can balance between the between the spiritual and the material. So I think it's also a crucial part to reaching that level, that we hear about these topics, to be convinced that yes, I have to cry because I have no other hope, and these will support that understanding, that and this is how these emotions can come.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for adding, because this was also really, really crucial.
Thank you. Thank you for a very, very exhaustive and comprehensive and all-encompassing, I would say. You have touched on so many different aspects of emotions, especially negative emotions, anger, all these things, and how we can channel those in our devotional lives. Because, they say one who controls his mind and emotions, he can control his life. Guru Maharaj has said this. So how much our emotions, minds, senses are dragging us here and there, and how much we need to bring the mind under our control, senses under our control, because then we can control our emotions also. Thank you. Thank you very much. So I don't see any more hands raised. I don't see any more questions in the chat. So with your permission, Radha Vinodini, we can end the call. Unless anybody has any last minute questions, comments, sharings, realization, we can offer obeisances to Radha Vinodini, and we can meet again tomorrow. Anybody? This is your last chance. Srimati, you
Hare
want to say
Krishna
anything?
Mataji.
Okay. Hari Bol, Gauri Priya, go for it.
Hare Krishna. Sorry for the no video. It's kind of some issue here. I just wanted to say thank you so much for the amazing class regarding the emotions and anger, and just also now a topic which you which was discussed regarding the chanting japa, and the emotions, to keep them or not. And just now that you mentioned that the cry for like a child for mother. Why to cry? Because we are so helpless. And just reminded, I'm now in a group with His Holiness Bhakti Chaitanya Swami Maharaj. He was given instruction. There is some specific instruction to follow during the chanting, and there was instruction like to cry as a child for a mother. So that for me is the most difficult in a way, because there is no understanding why I have to cry because I'm not feeling like that. And the last instruction which he given was to chant that Krishna, I'm full, but I'm so much full that I don't understand how full I am. So please show me how full I am. And just now when you said that we are crying because we are helpless, and this everything somehow came into a full picture that, yeah, actually we're crying because we're not understanding in which, the conditioned soul cries because there is no understanding that, I'm in a very bad position and I don't understand in which position I am. Krishna, please help. So that's how this process, so to say, is going on regarding the cry like a child for mother. And yeah, regarding the anger, amazing. How to say it in English? Explanation, let it be like this. Thank you so much for your extreme work, and extremely thank you so much for your association. Hare Krishna. Please accept number of businesses.
Thank you for your comment. It was very nice to hear about this. Yes, it's a process to understand that we are helpless, and definitely a process to understand how full we are, because we like to feel that, oh, I'm so smart, I know better than anyone else. And we really have to understand that we are just like nothing, and the only value we carry is that for some reason we are important to Krishna. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for this comment, because again, Krishna now opened something to share, although I'm sorry for sharing this, but
Please do.
My nature is so to say a false ego. Like whenever I'm listening somebody, I'm always like chewing how he's saying, what he's saying, in which mood he's saying, and this and that. I'm analyzing what the person is telling. And just while I was listening the what you were telling regarding the anger, so this chewing has come in the mind, and just in some moment, thanks so much to Krishna, he told, "This is my devotee. He's sharing something which I am giving. What are you doing?" And it was so much like, "Oh, I'm sorry." And only at that moment, this old chewing finished. Like, this is the problem, that how the false ego shows that, oh, I'm so smart, I can analyze somebody. No, that's not true. So that was also one point. So like, yeah, thank you. And I'm so sorry. Thank you so much, Mataji.
Thank you so much for sharing. This is, I think it's there for all of us. I know what you speak about, because we have opinions of others. And I think the worst part of it, at least this is what I used to experience, that the same mentality which we use to approach others at some point will backfire, and we approach ourselves also in this way. And I think I at some point I tried to consciously change how I look at others, and it was very interesting that how much easier it became for myself also, because then I also started to not to judge myself so much, and not to be so dependent on others opinion, because somehow it can be really difficult. And also I was really surprised the first time I heard that when we are listening to someone, the most of the time we think that the how they say it, the qualifications of the speaker is the most important. And I heard in one class that actually the listener's qualification is more important. I was so surprised, because in the material world we are not used to this approach. But yeah, it just works like this, that when there is a humble mentality, and that, please Krishna, I just would like to learn something about you, and then Krishna will manifest something to to be learned about him, and this is how it works. So but we need to learn it, because, as I mentioned, I totally know and experience all of what what you said, that sometimes it's easy to find a few things which, oh, this is really like that, oh, maybe he's not so right, or like like that, but yeah, so it's very mysterious, transcendental hearing. Thank you so much for your comment and your honesty. It was really, really heart-touching.
Thank you. Thank you, Radha Vinodini. Thank you to Gauri Priya, as well as all the devotees who have patiently come to this call and are patiently hearing this wonderful transcendental knowledge. We thank you for your attendance, and we hope to see you again tomorrow. We also want to thank Radha Vinodini for giving us such a detailed explanation. Hopefully, we can learn something. I really personally would like to go through those slides and really meditate, study, understand it better, because it's not, at least my brain doesn't work so fast. I need time to assimilate it and absorb it and meditate on it and then see how to apply it and all. So I don't know how comfortable you feel sharing it with me, Radha Vinodini.
Yeah, of course. If you think, I can also share it in one of the WhatsApp groups.
Okay.
So
Okay. Yeah.
maybe it's useful for others, maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah. So we can, all of us can take advantage of this wonderful. Thank you. Thank you very much, dear devotees. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Har Grace Radha Vinodini ki jai.
Guru
Shri
Maharaj
Sadhu Sangha
ki
ki
jai.
jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai, Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari,
Hari
Hari
Bol.
Bol.
thank you very much.
Thank
Hare
you so
Krishna.
much, Radha. Hare
Thank you so
Krishna.
much also for managing the call, because without you it would have been more difficult.
Oh, it's my joy, it's my pleasure, it's a privilege to serve the Vaishnavas. I'm grateful for the opportunity to serve all of you, and I pray to you that I can perfect my service more and more and get rid of my anarthas. Please pray for me. Hari Bol.
We
Okay.
will do.